Good morning, welcome to Felixstowe TV Gainsborough Studio. Hot off the press today is the fact that after a number of years of not considering port-centric working, it would appear that Hutchinson Whampoa, the operators of Felixstowe Port, have now given it due consideration or reconsideration. You may be aware that Felixstowe Super DC, which is a global gateway, a distribution centre, is to be built at the top of Cricket's Hill on that industrial development, offering facility service and distribution across the whole of the UK. There's a very exciting Uniserve facilities, automated, a whole range of stuff. So what's been seen fit by a company is to establish what is effectively a port-centric working facility, but actually outside of the port, going across a number of roads, etc., etc. Let me just take you back a little bit, if I may, to probably 2011 at the NEC, the multimodal exhibition. And at that particular exhibition, the London Gateway, the Arab-backed use of an oil refinery, was looking to ape, really, Felixstowe Port by building out into the river to expand its dock standing space by a huge amount, and using the land that had been used for the refinery to be the provider of space for warehousing and distribution and. And what was of particular interest to me and my colleague Brian Hall, a district councillor at the time, was somewhere in the region of 10,000 employment opportunities, proper ones, in distribution and office support within the dock. And the concept is you bring a container into the UK, you take it into a warehouse, you break it up into its end user proportions, you repack it to go to those destinations. So it's really from port to end user rather than port to depot, depot to end user. So you cut out the middleman. That gives an opportunity for the space that we have within our existing dock complex to be more effectively utilised. And I think since that time, as a result of the reconfiguration of the dock, we've lost a number of users, haven't we? The tank farm, the gas, the paper mill storage, or the paper. Do you remember those huge things that used to go off to feed Fleet Street at its best, bringing you all that's new and salacious in news coverage? Quite a lot of facilities within the dock are no longer used for their intended purpose. So if we look at this new suggestion of the Port of Felixstowe Logistic Park, where they're talking about 1.4 million square feet of within 68 acres of built to suit distribution warehousing. Now we need to get a bit more information on this as to if there's any time scale, what impact that would have on possibly additional traffic into and out of our town, whether that would call for more effective soundproofing to protect you and your home if you happen to be on the approach roads to the dock, what's the long-term future of actual job creation rather than the loss of jobs through automation, etc., etc., etc. So it is an exciting time. It is something the community should have been part of, I suppose, but as often is the case, you're not. Now, there is a possible little bit of golden light for very hard-pressed folk who feel that they are being, confined, and the green space around them is being consumed for housing. You may or may not recall there was a meeting to discuss the core strategy of where housing should go within our peninsula some years ago, and there was a meeting held at Walton Community Hall, which had been much smaller than it had been, and as a result of that, nearly 200 folk were locked out of the meeting. And you may recall that was a discussion on where particular blobs should be considered for house building. The only proposal that was met with a unanimous support was a proposal made within the meeting, considering the maps that were available at the time, was that the land that had been supposedly earmarked by Trinity College, the port, the planners, Uncle Tom Cobley and all, was the land around Innocents Lane. That was being looked for, but it would appear there's more than enough land within the dock to do what it may need to be doing for a very, very, very long time. That being the case, one would question whether we should not revisit the possibility of an eco-village, something that would be of the 21st century for a whole community to utilise some of the underutilised facilities of Curtin and Bucklesham, etc., etc. It shouldn't be returned to be reconsidered, and that would be an eco-village that would be self-sustaining, etc., etc., built in that area, which would actually take all the pressure off that is currently being applied to the few green spaces that are still providing within the envelopes of Walton, St Mary's and St Martin's. So we'll come back to you sometime in the future when we've got a bit more detail on all of those issues. What we do need to do, don't we, is interview a strategic planner, and they could tell us why an eco-village in that location is not a probability. So on that happy little note, thank you for viewing. See you the next time with an update on your future in the peninsula. Bye bye now from Felixstowe, Gainsborough Studio. Goodbye.